All right, and welcome to tonight's training. We think that you're going to get a great deal out of it, especially if fitness has been on your mind, not just now, but in the new year. I know a lot of us have begun to think about what we're going to set out to do in the new year, especially as we're trying to navigate COVID and hopefully the tail end of COVID, God willing, so that we can pursue a little bit more normality. Exercise is part of that, but maybe you've not been doing it in an optimal way, especially that which now science shows maybe we want to look at it a little bit differently. You're going to learn about that tonight. I'm on tonight with Dr. Evan Mladenoff, Dr. M, as most of you know him, and also Dr. Mike DeBord is with us tonight. And I'm going to let Dr. M tell you a little bit more about who he is and why he's here. And of course, we are absolutely glad you're here tonight. Let me just note that Ray Van Whitcomb in the chat said, I'm a patient of Dr. M and he's the greatest. So let's just settle that at the beginning. Dr. M is the greatest. We knew that. Dr. M, good to see you tonight. The floor is yours, sir. I'll close out. I'll probably be here in the background occasionally, but go right ahead.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Scott. No pressure at all, right, Raven? I'm the greatest, so like, how do I try to top that? So that's pretty awesome. Well, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. You probably see the background here. I'm sitting in a nice new chair. So those of you that haven't been in the office since this weekend, we did a rental this weekend so that we could share with you some of the things that we're going to talk about. As you know, our physical plant is pretty small, but we carved out a new space. We got some new chairs that we going to do our acupuncture and our cold laser in, and then we also added a vestibular therapy unit. And so now we're going to have a little mini exercise demo area. And so a lot of you have called and contacted us about, okay, what else can I do to build our immune system? So if you recall, we did one of these webinars, actually the first one we did way long back when all this COVID stuff started. So when we follow up there, we're going to send you a link to all that stuff, because we talked about, okay, here's how you get an infection. Doesn't matter what it is. And then here's how you can build and repair your immune system. So as a quick review, two things that help you build a strong immune system are you have to be able to detoxify. Your body has to get rid of poisons, and you have to exercise to get oxygen to the tissues of your body, along with a bunch of other stuff. But here's the dirty secret that trainers don't tell you and doctors don't train you, is that you have to exercise in very narrow limits. So for example, a lot of you know I love to ride my bicycle. Some of you haven't seen me for a while. They say, hey, Doc, you're looking pretty awesome. It's like you kind of svelte. What have you been doing? Has you been working out? And the answer is yes. And here's my workout routine that has now abruptly come to an end because of the weather. If I ride my bicycle 2 to 4 hours in a specific target heart range, I can work at increasing my lung volume, increasing my brain function with brain-derived neurotrophic factor. I can increase my detoxification capabilities. But I know that, for example, if I want to raise my lung capacity, I have to pedal up a 2-degree hill for 2.5 miles at 82 to 85 RPMs at an average of 14 to 15 miles per hour. And I have to monitor all this stuff while I'm on the bike to get the parameters I want to achieve the exercise results I want. And so as a lot of you know, I'm specific like that with the stuff we do with our patients too. But here's the other thing that goes along with it. Now I got to go into the basement on my bicycle that I bought, and this thing goes up and down 20 degrees. I can put any map of the planet you want out there, but I'm here to tell you, 45 minutes on the bicycle in the basement, there's nothing that can distract me enough to go longer than 45 minutes. So I don't get the exercise benefits that I do when I go out on the road. But here's the deal. I got a grandbaby coming in January. I'm looking at 4 to 16 hours of exercise a week on my bicycle to replicate what I do in the summertime. That's a lot of time that's going to be away from grandpa time. And I've been searching for how can I maximize my time to still get the benefits I want. And so I went to this seminar a couple of, actually about 4 weeks ago. Was this group I go with, and we were in Indianapolis, and it was a wonderful small group, and the main presenter was Dr. Mike, as he calls, Dr. Mike DeBord, and he presented this technology that he has embraced, he has researched, and he's now making available to us. And here's the bottom line. Mike's going to give you some of the research behind it and all the details, but I'm going to be able to, and I've started my protocol with Dr. Mike's guidance, that in 20 minutes to 30 minutes a day, I'm going to get the same benefits that I was able to get in 2 to 4 hours of going on the road with my bicycle. That is a dramatic change in my exercise profile of what I have to do to achieve the same results. And I'm here to tell you, I'm so excited. I can't wait to next summer because there are a few hills that kill me that I love to go up, and it's a pain. And so I can't wait like 2 months from now when I go to Phoenix to see my daughters. There's this one hill, it's called Mystic Mountain. And it's like a 16-degree incline for a half mile. And it's like I'm usually walking the last couple hundred yards off my bike, which is not, so I'm looking forward to seeing the benefits I'm going to get. So that's why I wanted to have Dr. Mike come and share this with you, because exercise will help you build your immune system. Exercise will help you detoxify. Exercise will help you build lung capacity. Exercise will help you build bone muscle mass. Exercise will tell you, like he's going to tell you about his story about your bone density stuff. So that's enough for me. Dr. Mike, welcome. I want you to share what you shared with me in Indianapolis for my patients, because this is something that will revolutionize how people can take care of themselves at home. Black Friday's coming. I didn't want patients to spend money on equipment that 3 weeks after they're going to use it, it's going to collect dust, or the gym industry is now dead and gone. We don't know what it's going to be like. And then, you never know what you're going to get like with a personal trainer. So Dr. Mike, take it away.
Well, thanks, Dr. M. It's great to be on the presentation tonight. Before I share my screen, I just want to show you what we're going to be talking about. It's these really cool bands. They're flexible, and they have these multiple air chambers in here, and that's what's the key here. So look how easy this is. I slide it up, okay? I strap it down, and then we just hook up a little manual pump, and we pump it up. And it just gently squeezes your arms and legs. I'm going to tell you how this works. But you can see how easy is that to get on, and it's comfortable. And here's the key. Because of those multiple air chambers I was showing you, this does not cut off blood flow. Doesn't even come close. It doesn't act like a tourniquet or a blood pressure cuff. And now I'm going to bring up the screen. I'm going to try and share the screen here. If Scott, if you could allow me to share screen.
Yeah, let me work on that here, trying to get you to do that. Change role. Let's see. Yeah, I can do that. Just give me just a second. I think I've got to change one permission on here. It'll take me just a second.
So for everybody watching, the bands go on your arms and legs. They're incredibly easy to get on. And as you're going to see, we have 6-year-old kids that are using them and 90-year-old people going for a walk that's using them. We've got famous celebrities like Mark Wahlberg, the movie star, using them. Great. Let me go to share screen here. Awesome. And if everybody would just let me know, Doc and Scott, if you guys are seeing my PowerPoint screen there.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. Great. Yep, absolutely.
Thank you. So we call it the new way to exercise. And the new way, kind of like Doc said, it's no more of this hour to 2 hour or even 45-minute workout. No more heavy weights. And you're going to be able to do this from anywhere. We have people that do this from the office, when they're in the airport, when they're on the beach, right from home. You don't need any special equipment, although you can use it with any equipment like Doc does. Wonderful benefit, no pain or soreness. Here's the big one. Big growth hormone surge. We're going to talk about that. That is a game changer. Here's the problem with exercise, and I was just writing a note down as Doc was talking about it. You know how he mentioned how he would go for about, a few minutes on that high-intensity sprint up the hill? That's what high-intensity exercise is. And here's the problem. 99% of the population can't do high-intensity. Look, we can go for a walk or a bike ride, but that's not going to get you any growth hormone. We can do a class or some yoga or some Pilates, but that's not going to get you growth hormone. Growth hormone is flipping tires, slamming heavy weights, sprinting, climbing hills. And most people have one of these challenges on this screen right here. Mine was pain at the age of 56. But now with the bands, anybody can do this. You see some of the pictures there, busy moms and dads, kids, seniors, athletes at all levels, people in pain, people injured or rehabbing, people that are going to see Dr. M in one of his clinics. Physically challenged people. Look at this guy. A couple of quick stories. Here's a guy. He's not a weightlifter or a gym person. He's not going to hire a trainer. You're not going to get him in a gym for 45 minutes to an hour. He's stuck. We put on him. He works out in his basements for 20 minutes, 5 days a week. Since December, he's lost 100 pounds. 100 pounds by simply working out for less than 20 minutes in his basement using light weights. Look at this guy. They say you can't build muscle as we get into our 60s and 70s. Not anymore. You have growth hormones sitting in your pituitary. You just got to be able to tap into it. This guy's a 75-year-old dentist, put an inch on his arms, 2 inches on his thighs, took 2 inches off his midline in 8 weeks of light exercise at home, no pain. Want to tone up? Lisa's in her 50s, plays pickleball 10 to 12 hours per week, can't lose any weight. How many people out there exercise and can't tone up? You know why? Because you can't get enough high-intensity exercise to get growth hormone. People exercising just can't get it. Guess what Lisa does? She simply puts the bands on in the first 10 to 15 minutes of playing pickleball. So if you walk or bike or run or doing chores, mow the yard, shovel snow, just put the bands on. She lost 17 pounds in 6 weeks. Kids too. Look at these kids on here. You know, we all know that we can't lift heavy weights with kids. Dr. M will tell you that if you bring your kids to see him, and hopefully you do. Your kids need chiropractic, but they can't lift heavy weights because it stresses their growth plates. Now they can get a fatigue level with super light weights that will grow strength. And guess what else? They love the way their muscles get pumped up, and it's only 10 to 15 minutes, which means they can pay attention longer. And you want to talk about performing better in sports? How about going for a walk? You know, we have a whole population that won't go to the gym, won't get on the bike, won't do the class, won't pop in the DVD, but they'll go for a walk, maybe because they have a dog. Kathy and Ronnie put the bands on. After walking for 15 minutes, they feel like they just got done running sprints. They feel a wonderful burn in their leg muscles, and they lost 40 pounds together in 6 weeks. Now, you're not going to be sore and have soreness, but while you're doing it, you're going to think you're doing high-intensity exercise. How about people who are busy? 10 minutes at work. Can you find 10 minutes during your day to not even change your clothes? This is Craig, busy insurance agent. Puts the bands on, hooks up the exercise tubing that we're going to give you free when you order to his door, and he does exercises right in his office. Gets a big pump on his muscles, a big fatigue in 10 minutes, doesn't sweat, even does it when he's on conference calls. He's completely changed his body during his work day. And now we're starting to see doctors and chiropractors like Dr. M. He's one of the most famous chiropractors in the country, along with the docs that are in his group. And we're seeing famous doctors like Dr. Mercola online. You may have heard that name using the bands. Down there in the bottom left corner, that's Mark Wahlberg, the movie star. People are starting to hear about this. USA Olympic teams are using it. These are just a few of the Olympic teams that are using our bands for Nordic and cross country, swimming, volleyball, lifting, track and field. Why? Well, in addition to you being able to get a deeper fatigue, Olympians also want to train smarter and faster and get more growth hormone. How about the world champion Kansas City Chiefs? Maybe you know about them. Maybe they're in that city you're in right now. This is Rick Burkholder. Doc used to be the team chiropractor there. They use these bands in the training room to build muscle. Rick even uses it on his kids. And guess who else uses the bands? Your world champion Super Bowl MVP quarterback. We don't need to name names. He loves the bands. This is another team using them. Mario Cruz of the Atlanta United soccer team. They use it for strengthening, rehab, recovery, and pain relief. This guy's one of the strongest men in the world. Only man to ever lift 1,000 pounds in a deadlift and squat. Why would he use them? For the same reason. He can lift lighter weights, get a better fatigue, and more growth hormone and more results. So how does this work? So I want you to imagine you're going to go for a walk. And when you go for a walk, what's happening? You're using oxygen, but the oxygen flowing in is flowing in faster than you're using it, which means you could walk for days. Remember the movie Forrest Gump? Forrest went for a run, and he ran and ran and ran. Why? Because there's more oxygen flowing in than he's using. This is where the bands come in and are a brilliant biohack to human performance. They simply slow oxygen down safely. No danger. You feel a gentle squeeze. Now let's go back to the walk. You're walking, but you're using oxygen now faster than it can get in and get out. Why? Because the bands are on. This is why Doc can ride for 20 minutes and get an oxygen deficit in his muscles that normally takes 2 to 4 hours. And you can do it walking, going up and down the steps, mowing the yard, doing light exercise. And here's what you notice. A couple minutes in, maybe even within a minute, you start to feel a nice size burn in your muscles. That's lactic acid. Lactic acid and the burn is your signal. Here's exercise for you in the simplest way to understand it. If you can exercise and feel the burn, you're going to get growth hormone. If you exercise and don't get the lactic acid burn, you're not getting any. So the bands allow you to do that and then get a deeper fatigue. Now let me put this in perspective. You're going to do something light, but you're going to hit a fatigue that typically is reserved for Olympic level athletes, but you're not going to be sore. You're not going to have any pain, and you're going to get a big growth hormone release. Why is that important? Because as you get in your 20s and then your 30s, growth hormone slows down. This is the natural nighttime release of growth hormone. It declines with age. You can't stop it. And you know what happens? We get in our 30s, and the old saying, we eat a pizza and we see it the next day. Well, when we get in our 30s and 40s, we don't even have to eat the pizza. We can just look at it, and our metabolism starts putting weight on. And you can't stop. And then the aging process settles in. Low energy, sex drive, degeneration of the body, arthritis and pain. But guess what? You have a different way of getting growth hormone, high intensity exercise. And you can get it till the day you die if you can do high intensity exercise. Now again, how do you know you're doing high intensity? You don't need to be a scientist. You don't even need to be a doctor. You need to get into feeling the burn. Try and do it for about 10 minutes. You don't have to stay in the burn, but you got to do things like light weightlifting, walking, get on the bike, do some things that feel the burn. Now, typically, we have to do high intensity exercise to do this. And here's a chart showing you exactly what this looks like. Over on the left side is the typical middle-aged person exercising and doing bicep curls. And they're exercising to their level of fatigue, meaning they're pushing as hard as they can. And on that scale, you see an infrared spectrometer measuring oxygen. And if you notice, they're not getting below 30%. This is where most people are exercising, above growth hormone threshold, which means they don't get any. But look on the other side. This is the other side. This is like Doc putting the bands on and doing a bike. Increased quantities of calories burned after exercise. Here's all you need to know. Ladies, every time you put the bands on for 10 or 15 minutes and get the burn, over the next 24 hours, you're going to burn an extra 400 to 800 calories. What would happen if you were burning 800 more calories every day? Every day you use the bands. I guarantee in 30 days, you'd notice your body change. Men up to 1,000 more calories. That's what Harvard calls it. You can either do high intensity exercise for an hour or more, which very few people can do, or you can simply put the bands on for 10 to 15 minutes. Here's some more. Eli, college student, working out 4 to 5 days per week with very little results. Why? Eli cannot push his body hard enough to get growth hormone. He switched over to the bands, exercised in half the time. First month, he lost 10 pounds, put muscle on his arm. Over the course of 3 months, lost all 25 pounds. He's working out for 20 minutes most of the time right in his dorm room. Look at Keith. Keith's another one of our pickleball players. Maybe like you. He's active, but he can't lose weight, and he's frustrated. Why is he playing and playing and playing, and he's not losing weight? Because he's not getting into the burn for 10 minutes, which is required to get growth hormone. Now all he does is put the bands on for the first 15 minutes of pickleball, lost 10 pounds in the first 3 weeks, no dieting. How about people who like to swim? Kathy and Estes are in their 70s. Estes had myasthenia gravis, horrible memory problems. Now when they swim, they get the burn, they get growth hormone. Plus, as you'll see in another slide, they're getting cardiovascular benefits and bone benefits, and Estes' memory's better. So here's an example of people who don't have to go to the gym, they don't have to buy any equipment, they just keep doing what they love to do. Go to the YMCA and swim and completely change the game in their body. How about people who like the gym? Harry's one of the most successful natural bodybuilders in the country. Why would he use the bands? I'll tell you why. He's lifting less weight in less time, and he has less pain and soreness, and is extending his lifting career. But guess what else he's doing? He's hitting a deeper oxygen deficit than he can without the bands, and he's building more dense muscle. Look at these guys. You still want to perform? Craig over there on the left side put 7.5 inches on his vertical. He's a national volleyball champion. Started training with the bands and increased his vertical leap from 18 inches to over 25 and reduced his body fat to 15%. Here's a guy who was already in great shape. Dr. Dennis Brickner is a chiropractor in Springboro, Ohio, competes in Senior Olympics. Most medals he ever won was one. Trained with the bands, won gold medals, blew away the competition. Now, how's that possible? He's hitting a deeper fatigue in his training and getting more growth hormone, and he's adapting faster. Love to play sport? Simply put the bands on. Soccer, basketball, tennis, golf. You want to hit a golf ball a long way? Simply go out and hit with the bands on and watch what happens in 30 days. How about people who are physically challenged? We have all kinds of people who can't lift weights, but guess what they can do? They can put the bands on. Here's Donna doing exercise at home. We have people in wheelchairs and walkers that all we do is somebody helps them stand up and then sit back down, stand up and then sit back down, and they get tremendous improvements in their physical strength and all of their other health benefits. You know, one of the reasons you go to a chiropractor, and hopefully all of you are going early, or you get a massage, is chiropractic increases blood flow to your body. So when you get your neck adjusted and your back and your low back, you get better blood flow and better nerve flow. But when you have pain in your body, like fibromyalgia, and I'll show you a couple slides, here's what happens. You lose good blood flow to these areas. For example, your elbow or your wrist or your knee, when you get arthritis, and then these tissues are starving for blood flow. But guess what you've got sitting in your arteries, ready to help you? It's called nitric oxide. And all you have to do is do exercise where you start to feel the burn, and your body releases this, and you get this rush of blood flow. That's why you could be exercising with the bands on your legs and your neck starts feeling better and your elbow starts feeling better because it oxygenates tissue starving. So talk about a combination of therapeutic exercise with chiropractic to heal your body. Look at this, Dusty, multiple sclerosis. She can't exercise. You know why? Because she starts hurting and then the next day she can't move. But what would happen if she could exercise and immediately start getting nitric oxide and get that warmed up, pumped feeling? I'll tell you what happened. The first time she used them, she had no pain. She started crying. Now she can exercise again, and tremendous help with depression. Jennifer, fibromyalgia. Here's her exact words in her 30s. The pain in my upper limbs and back would be so bad, I just want to cut them off or stab them with a knife. She can't exercise because she hurts too much. Within 1 week of exercising with the bands, her pain went away. Here's her exact words. I now have muscle and energy and no longer have depression. She's now running marathons. She never thought any of this was possible. It's real simple. If you can exercise and feel lactic acid burn, your body will rush oxygen and blood flow to all these painful tissues. Look at this guy, Tim. He's in his 60s. My knee would ache anytime I do exercise or chores like shoveling snow or playing pickleball. His knee always had a little bit of swelling in it for 20 years. Within 2 weeks of doing light exercise within the bands, no pain, no swelling, completely gone. How's that possible? A guy who has arthritis in his knee and now has poor blood flow. When he uses the bands, now he gets this dramatic increase in blood flow. It's like getting that wonderful adjustment on your neck and getting all that wonderful nerve flow and blood flow. He didn't think any of that was possible. How about any of you that have kids at home or kids in college or neighbors or family members who are athletes? You want to talk about an unfair advantage. Emily, college volleyball player, 6 inches to his vertical. My son Colin dramatically changed his speed and went to a football camp, and his best chance before that, maybe a Division II scholarship. He went up to state football camp and was the fastest kid there out of 500 kids, got 10 scholarship offers by simply training with the bands. What else does the bands do? Well, you heard Doc mentioning a thing called BDNF. There's also a thing called VEGF. Don't worry about what it means. Here's what it does. When you do high-intensity exercise and feel the burn, your body releases this substance, and it causes your cardiovascular system to get younger. You know those hardening of the arteries and those varicose veins that cause you to start having cardiovascular problems? That actually reverses when you get VEGF, and doing exercise with the bands has been proven in studies to release this. Guess what else it does? BFR, blood flow resistance training like B3 bands, has been proven in studies to increase bone density. Ladies, simply go for a walk with the bands and you could dramatically improve the density in your bones. How's that possible? Well, remember, you're walking and going through your normal days and you're not getting any of this lactic acid to turn this on. Now you go for a walk and you feel that wonderful light, medium burn lactic acid in your legs. Your body then triggers bone-specific alkaline phosphatase. Your bones then get stronger. And talk about something we all need right now. BFR, like bands, has been proven in a scientific study to cause a big boost to your immune system. Now, I'm not going to take any positions here. I'm going to let Doc handle that. But here's what I will tell you. People who do high-intensity exercise like Doc and get lactic acid have a dramatically stronger immune system. Now you can use the bands and do the same thing. You can connect the dots on the rest of how this can benefit everybody right now. Even diabetics benefit. A study on people walking with the bands showed that it is very beneficial for pre-diabetic and diabetic people who cannot sustain high-intensity exercise. Are you starting to see a pattern here? Why do you think Doc goes out and rides and then does? Because he knows when he does that high-intensity exercise and gets that burn in his legs, he knows what it does to all these systems in his body. That's the theme here. Now, everybody can go out and in 15 to 20 minutes do light exercise, stimulate high-intensity exercise, and get all the benefits. And guess what else benefits? Your brain. You heard Doc mention earlier, I think called BDNF. Don't worry about looking it up. Let me tell you what it does. It's fertilizer for your brain. It increases blood flow. It protects your brain from neurodegenerative disease processes. Even varicose veins get better. A study of 16 women walking with BFR bands like B3, significant improvement in venous. Guess what else gets better? Anybody dealing with hypothyroidism? Here's what most doctors, when you go to them and talk to them about your thyroid, your medical doctors, unfortunately don't tell you. that it's not that your thyroid isn't producing thyroxine, it's that you're doing vigorous exercise to stimulate thyroid stimulating hormone. Thyroid stimulating hormone is released with growth hormone. Guess what it does when you do high intensity exercise? It tells your thyroid to crank up thyroid hormones. We've had a bunch of ladies get off their thyroid medication as soon as they started doing the bands. And BFR is safe. 1,000 people studied, even people with physical conditions, including cerebral vascular disease, orthopedic disease, obesity, cardiac disease, neuromuscular disease, diabetes, hypertension, respiratory disease. If you're diabetic, you can exercise, you can use the bands. And we just conducted studies on our exact bands on walking and yoga and concluded that it did not increase arterial blood pressure, which means your blood pressure doesn't go up any higher than normal exercise, and there was no additional oxygen demand on the heart, meaning it's completely safe. So how do you get started? How do you tap into this new exercise breakthrough and simply start using the bands to change your health? Number one, we're going to show you how to order the bands, but next, as soon as you get the bands, there's going to be no questions of what to do. We're going to email you a program from one of our coaches, and then you can change any program. If you don't like the one we send you, you can pick from 20 different programs like biking, golfing, pickleball, powerlifting, knee problems. You pick the program, we'll send you the videos, and then anytime you have a question, you just email us. We'll even get on the phone with you to make sure you get off to a great start. In addition, 30 days from the day the bands arrive, not when you order. If you order tonight and get them next Monday, 30 days from the day you get your hands on them, take them for a test drive. If for any reason you don't love your bands, 100% money back guarantee. Doesn't matter if they come back dirty, sweaty, and they have a 12-month warranty. If you're in a financial crunch, we have a zero down, zero interest program for 6 months with PayPal. Simple program with PayPal credit. They'll even give you $20 off of your order. And if some of you would like to learn more and even become one of our coaches, we even teach a 6-hour online certification program. We have housewives, grandmas, physical therapists, personal trainers, bodybuilders, doctors, college students who have decided that, hey, they want to also become a coach. We'll certify you in BFR. The next course is January 9th. So how do you get started? Well, the bands come with 2 arm bands and 2 leg bands in a pump in a really cool case of your size. When you go to order, you will see the sizing chart. Just get out a little piece of string and measure around your arms or legs, or measuring tape. If you got string, then just lay it on a ruler and measure how wide your legs are at the top. You'll see a little image of the size chart, and you will get the sizes that match you. We're also going to send you a free set of exercise tubing so you can work out from anywhere, and you get a coach for life. That means 10 months from now, you want to learn how to get ready for a marathon. We're going to be here to assist you. So it's a $679 value for $429. And if you'd like to share it, maybe after you get them, you say, hey, I know some people, you want to help us, like Doc is helping, sharing this with our first goal of 1 million people across the United States. We also have a generous referral commission program that you can inquire about. So I want to bring Doc back on. And first of all, he might have some questions, but he's also doing something really special for everyone this Friday. So Doc, I'll pass it back to you, see if you have any questions, and then you can share with them what's going on in the clinic there.
Well, thanks, Dr. Mike. So the first thing is this Friday from 4 to 6, we're going to have the clinic open. So if you want to come on by and test drive the bands, we're going to have a few sets here that you can do that. We won't be treating any patients, so we'll have lots of space where we can do this. Now, if that time doesn't work for you, Dr. Mike, we can just change our phone number there, but you can call Sandy tomorrow, or even right now. You can leave her a message and say, hey, I can't come Friday. Can we set another time? Excuse me. So, Dr. Mike, that number is 913-491-1071. was my
Okay,
bad.
let
I
me
brought,
fix.
okay,
Let me
perfect.
back up there.
So 913
Mhm.
491 1071. Just remove that 8 in the back end there.
Okay. Apologize for that, everyone. There we go.
No worries. Okay, so actually, yes, I did have a couple of questions, Dr. Mike. And if anybody else has any questions, just use that chat box. So the first thing is, okay, so I've got some patients that we talked about this week. So if they're just walking their dog, they'll still get the benefits if they don't change anything, and they just continue walking their dog. Now, if they go on a half-hour walk, they only want to wear the bands full pressured for 20 minutes. But then what do they do if they're halfway home?
Yeah, exactly. You can just push the little button. If you look at the video here, there's a little button. You just push it and let the air out, and you can keep right on walking. Now, one of the things we teach people to do is after you walk for 2 minutes, even the dog stops, stop and squat down in a squat position. You don't have to go up and down. Just squat and hold for 30 seconds, and then walk a little bit more, and then squat and hold. Every time you squat and hold, you're cranking up oxygen usage. Like Doc on his bike goes up an incline. When you squat, you dramatically increase the oxygen usage, and you'll really get into that wonderful burn.
Excellent. Okay, so now another question from someone who plays tennis. So I put the bands on. Now, do I do my normal warm-up tennis before the match, and then pump up the bands, and then go for 20 minutes, or do I pump them up right away and don't worry about warm-up? What's your recommendations for that scenario?
Okay, so for people who play sports, a great thing to do with the bands is put them on and warm up for 3 to 5 minutes. Hit some tennis balls, hit a few golf balls, do some squats, get that light pump or burn, and then immediately take them off and go play. All the Olympic athletes are doing that now. If you are going to be practicing, not competing, you're at the golf range, you're at the tennis court drilling, you're on the soccer field. Put the bands on for about 10 to 15 minutes and go through your normal drills, hitting golf balls, hitting backhand, forehand, up to the net, until you get a good fatigue or burn. Take them off. And after about 1 minute, hydrate, the burn will go away, and you're actually going to have a ton of energy. You can continue to play. So we call that the starter workout. Put them on, start your workout. So imagine you're going to hike for an hour. Put them on for the first 10 minutes, and then continue your hike. Or you're going to go walk the beach for 2 hours. Put them on, first 5 minutes, get the burn, let the air out, and keep walking.
Okay, excellent. Okay, we got a question from Lynn. Can wearing the bands cause muscle cramping?
Actually, no, because cramping is due to actually poor flowing of electrolytes into the muscle. And as soon as you start to feel the burn, you get this rush of blood flow in. So actually, people who cramp and have cramping actually see that go away when they use the bands. Because remember, better blood flow, more oxygen into the muscles is a big solution for cramping. And a lot of people think their cramping is electrolytes, and what it actually is lack of good oxygen coming into the muscles.
Okay, another question from Danita. I exercise on a stationary bike. Can you talk about how I could use them on my stationary bike? I don't ride like Dr. M does.
Well, that's a great question. You're not going to have to. You just put them on, slide them up your legs, pump them up, and get on your exercise bike. And if you don't notice within about the first 2 or 3 minutes that you're feeling a burn, then you got 2 options. You can put some more air. You can stop real quick, add a little more air into the bands, which slows oxygen down a little more, or you can increase the resistance. But most people, once they figure out how much air to put it in, you'll real quick, we tell you how much air to put in right on the band. And then some people notice they put 50 pounds more in, but you'll figure out real quick, oh, if I just pedal a little faster or I put a little more air in, oh, there's the burn. Now you found it. Now you're in the magic zone, the sweet spot. And then you just hang out there for, anywhere from 4 or 5 minutes to 10 minutes to get that wonderful growth hormone.
Okay, so here's another question from Lisa. And her question is, do I wear the bands for 20 minutes of the burn, or do I wear the bands and then once I get the burn and I've come to 20 minutes, do I stop?
Great question. So 20 minutes is just an arbitrary general number. You can go 25, you can go 10. What you want to do is you want to get into the burn as fast as possible. Some people it takes 2 or 3 minutes. Some people it takes 5 or 10. And then go till you feel a pretty good fatigue. We call it light, medium, and hard burn. So your first couple sessions go light or medium burn. But then get used to them. Deeper you go into that burn, the hormone you get. And you're going to know, trust me, your muscles are going to start to fatigue, or what we call fail, meaning it's going to get real hard. So as you build up your strength, then you just try and push a little further. But remember this, the quicker I get into the burn, the longer I stay in the burn, the deeper I push the burn, the more growth hormone I get. Now again, take it, just go slow and build up to it. You don't have to go crazy the first day. But I'll tell you, people notice within 30 days, their fatigue levels, their stamina goes absolutely through the roof. So, just listen to your body.
Okay, hold it, Dr. Mike. Their fatigue level goes through the roof, meaning they don't have as much fatigue. They feel better the rest of the day, or they get fatigued in their exercise faster.
They get fatigued in their exercise factor, but great point, Doc. If you do this in the morning, you're going to notice huge changes in your energy during the day. As you start to do this over 1, 2, 3, and 4 weeks, your stamina, how long you have energy during the day, how long you're productive during the day, goes through the roof, because you're training your cardiovascular system and your entire body with growth hormones. So you're going to see all kinds of additional benefits just beyond what you see in the mirror.
Okay, so Dr. Mike, this is a Dr. M question now. Okay, so like I'm envisioning around Christmas time, I hope to be going to Phoenix, and I've got a couple of nice rides. So here's my problem. It takes me 10 miles to get to where the mountains are. Then depending on, I have an 8-mile lap with that, 2-mile incline, but then I can do a bunch of other stuff. So can I put the bands on? And obviously I'm not going to take them on and off if I'm riding for 2 hours, but can I ride, get the burn for 20 minutes, then can I ease off on the bands, continue my workout, and then, as long as what do I have to do to make sure I can keep going, and then do another 20 minutes on the bands, like pump them, stop, pump them back up? Do you understand what I'm trying to ask? Like do multiple repeats of that 20-minute burn thing?
I do. Here's what we suggest you do. Do the starter and the finisher. So if you know you're going to go for 2 hours, put the bands on in the first 5 to 10 minutes and get a light burn. Get really a good pump, but not super fatigued. You're increasing nitric oxide, which is going to boost your performance. Reach down, push the little buttons on the end and let the air out. Just keep right on going. Now you get to the end, you got a mile left. Pump them right, grab the pump out of your backpack, stop for a second, pump them up, and then go with everything you got the last 10 minutes. And your performance, your VO2 max endurance will absolutely go through the roof. So again, like the tennis player who's going to warm up, if you're going to hike or run or bike or swim for a long distance, put the bands on in the beginning. Get a little warm up, a little pump, a little light burn going. Then let the air out and continue on. And then if you want at the end, put them on and then really push to that hard fatigue at the end like you're sprinting down the finish line.
Okay, thank you. So here's a question from Brian. His question is, okay, you're wearing bands on your legs, bands on your arms. So if you're going to do more than one 20-minute session, do you let the air out of all the bands? Do you blow up all the bands? Do you only blow up some of the bands? What combination of things do you do with the bands, like with pressure, without pressure?
Okay, so we want you to stick around the 20 minutes. It's okay if you go 23 or 24. And you decide, look, I did a workout earlier on the power. So I did legs, then I did upper body, then I did some core. And I went nonstop. I did everything. That's a full body workout. Or I could do a lower body workout for 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'm done. Or I could do upper body. So you can do any combination. Here's what we suggest. Okay, 3 recommendations. Number 1, only use the arm or leg bands for the first 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how active you are. Give yourself a chance to get used to them on your arms and on your legs. After that, you can wear all 4. Even if you're not working your upper body, you can put all 4 on. Number 2, we recommend only doing 1 session a day. Here's why. We want you to get a big growth hormone release, and we don't want any stress. Here's what I mean. If you start over training, your body starts releasing stress hormones or cortisol, which Doc understands real well, which turns off or suppresses growth hormone. There's very few people out there, excluding Olympic athletes, that should be hitting these fatigue levels multiple times in a day. It's just not productive. It's actually counterproductive. So what we'd like to see you do is 1 time a day, you pick upper body, lower body, get 1 good 15, 20, 24-minute session in, and then let your body adapt. Let that growth hormone go, and then wait till the next day. Now, if you're competing, okay, that's different. And that's why we give you a coach. So if you're going to compete and say, hey, I'm competing in a marathon or an Ironman, then you email us after you've used the bands for a week or 2, and we'll coach you through those things. We'll design a program for you. But the average, athletic people, once a day, 20 minutes, upper body, lower body, combination, you decide. There's no wrong way to get the burn and get growth hormone.
Excellent. Okay, so again, just to review, when you first start, you should, because I know when you demoed them for when I was with you, I put bands on, all the 4 bands. So you're saying people should start with just upper or just lower for a couple of times, and then switch them around, and then after doing it 4 or 5 times, then put all 4 of them on.
Yes, we recommend, now excluding if you're an elite level athlete. Let's talk recreational, amateur, sedentary people. Pick a day when you're going to put the leg bands on. Next day, put the arm bands on. Next day, put the leg bands on, okay? The normal person, give yourself 30 days of doing that. Only arms or only legs. Because look, you're not used to this much lactic acid. It's not going to hurt you, but if you do too much, you're going to hit a wall the next. That's why we want you to start slow and build up to this. And then you can put all 4 bands on. But look, if you're an elite level athlete, like Doc, you ride the bike like you do, you can, within a couple sessions, get into wearing all 4 at the same time.
Okay, well, I did that wrong. I started off with all 4. Okay, so okay. I'll hit the reset button. Okay, so here's just to clarify, someone who's just, their exercises, they're walking their dog. So they said just start one day, just do the normal walk, put the leg bands on, feel a burn for 20 minutes, then ease off the pressure, keep walking, get home. The next day, maybe just do arms. Would it be appropriate to do 1 arm and 1 leg, or just stick with both arms or both legs?
Both arms or both legs. But okay. Look, we have walkers. They don't want to do upper body exercises. That's okay. Just walk. It's okay to walk every day with the bands and not work your upper body. Growth hormone is not prejudiced to your legs. It's going to help your entire body. So we don't need you to become a upper body weightlifter if you don't want to. Look, if you don't mind doing it, then sure, let's tone the upper body. But that's okay, people, is I want you to do an activity that you will continue doing after 30 days, which means you like to do it. Look, if you start doing something you're not accustomed to doing and you don't like to do it, in 30 days, you're going to be like everybody else and you're going to stop. So if you're a dog walker, all we need to do is just walk the dog with the mans. Doc, you're a bike rider, so you're going to bike with the mans. So what we want people to do what you like to do. If you like to work in the yard, mow the yard, go up and down the steps, that's your workout. And put the bands on. And the whole simplicity of this, put the bands on, get the burn. You choose the exercise that you would like to do.
Excellent. Okay, so again, the magic is the burn, right? You gotta feel that burn. And just as an FYI to everybody on the call, I didn't get it the first time, and part of it was I had the wrong size band. I just slapped on the first pair of bands that came with the pack I ordered, and I didn't have the bands tight enough. And then I when the next time we did it, I talked to Dr. Mike. He says, you probably need the bigger bands. As soon as I did that, and then I inflated them, it's like, okay, I just pedaled at a steady rate because I wanted to just see what was going to happen. I started getting the burn. It was pretty awesome. So that's really great. Okay, so let me see if there's any other questions here, Dr. Mike.
And Doc, you mentioned it there. And look, we're going to have a coach to answer the question. But Doc just did exactly what we said. The first time you may not feel the burn. Next time, put some more air in them. You know, pump them up a little bit higher. Doc, you could have used the same bands you had and, you know, put more pressure in them, but the bigger bands actually just got you there quicker. So all we did for Doc was first session, didn't feel the burn. That's okay. That's your indication. Okay, next session, let's put 25 to 50 more pounds of pressure in the bands. Boom, there took you 2 sessions, Doc. You found the sweet spot. You're dialed in.
Okay, so actually a couple more questions came in. A question for Sherry. Sherry, we're glad you're here. We did record this, so we're going to be able to post this. So not to worry, and everybody will be able to follow up with this and watch this again. So within, hopefully by noon tomorrow. Sherry, we also said Friday from 4 to 6. You can come by the clinic where we're going to have time to demonstrate. You can try out the bands. Question, case using the bands. That's an excellent question.
Say that question again, Doc. You broke up a little bit there.
Okay, Gwen is asking, is there any contraindications to using the bands?
Yes, number one.
Any reason why they shouldn't use them?
Number one, if your doctor has told you he does not want you doing vigorous exercise, okay? Number two, you have active swelling in an arm or leg, like lymphedema, okay? Now, if you have lymphedema in your legs, but not your arms, you can use them on your arms. Or you've got something acute going on. Our bands do not stop blood flow. So if you have high blood pressure, clots, any of these type of conditions, here's the rule. If you can walk for 20 minutes, you can walk with the bands. If you can exercise or lift light weights or go up and down the steps, you can do it with the bands as long as there's not an active swelling. We even have people who have sciatic and numbness in their arms and legs. And guess what happens? You know, when they get the oxygen going, it tends to help those things. So very few contraindications. But if you have any concerns, again, just email us. I'm going to give you the email. Any questions you have, just remember this email, and it'll come to you when you order, support3sciences.com. Any questions tonight or in the morning you think of, just email us at support@b3sciences.com, and then, you know, Doc will let you know where you can order the bands also after the questions are done.
Okay, a couple more good questions coming in now, so keep them coming. What about a 70s? This is from one of the attendees. What about a 77-year-old, fairly decent shape, but is on oxygen 24/7 due to pulmonary fibrosis? What about that person using the bands?
We have a study on people with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, Doc, that when they get nitric oxide, it gets better. So if the person on oxygen can go for a walk or sit down and stand up or walk up and down the steps, they can put the bands on and do that same thing, whatever they can do. And I would encourage that person and any who's concerned, like something like that, again, email us at support@b3sciences.com, and I'll actually send you the study and review done on a person with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So diabetes, high blood pressure, conditions, Parkinson's, ischemic heart disease. We have studied stuff. Feel free to email us at support@b3sciences.com. But let's go back to the rule. If the person can sit down and stand up, if they can walk, if they can go up and down the steps, they can put the bands on and do that same light exercise.
Okay, another question. This is from Raven, actually a two-part question. Number one, will this help release cortisol from the body? Okay, so now knowing Raven, is she asking, will this help decrease cortisol? Because if you increase growth hormone, as you know, with exercise, you're going to increase cortisol anyway. So I'm not sure what she's asking, but if you could just address the cortisol viewpoint of the bands.
Bet. So for everybody on the call, cortisol is the stress hormone. So think of it this way. When you overtrain and create inflammation in your body, your knee starts hurting, or you create inflammation, your body releases cortisol. It has the opposite effect of growth hormone. So people who tend to train too long get cortisol. Guess what else happens? Your metabolism slows down. And people who work out for an hour look at the scale and they're like, what in the world is going on? I hurt. I'm sore. I'm pushing myself. You put your body in stress. Here's why the bands are so wonderful. You're working out in a shorter period of time. So we're reducing the chance of getting cortisol. And now we're getting growth hormone. And they act like a teeter-totter. When you get high growth hormone and low cortisol, your body is like on rocket fuel. When you get cortisol and not much growth hormone, your body's in stress and it's sore and it hurts and your metabolism slows down. So in summary, cortisol levels go down because you're training less, and growth hormone levels go up, which will help your body deal with stress. I can't tell you how many men and women I've had to say, you've got to stop working out for an hour, hour and a half every day. You're just killing yourself. You're stressed, tired, you're hurting. And as soon as they start exercising for 15 to 20 minutes and even taking a day off, their whole world changes because cortisol levels now come back down, growth hormone levels go up. So great question, Doc.
Yeah, and I've had many patients like that where we've told them, like, you know, your exercise is sleep and rest. Okay, a couple more questions, Doc. The couple of quick ones here. How are these bands different from the commercial bands that go around your arms and legs?
Great question. If everybody look at the video here, most of the bands on the market are very dangerous. They act like a tourniquet. What they are is a belt or strap, and you can go out and buy them for $39, but I can tell you, first of all, you put that on, it's uncomfortable. Unless you're a bodybuilder who can handle pain, trust me, you'll have that thing off real quick. Number two, it can cut off blood flow. We absolutely don't want to do that. Number three, it can compress the arteries. And more importantly, it can compress the nerves. Our bands, if you look on the screen here, you see these air pockets. This is a pack. The only ones that do this. So when it blows up, it's like a bunch of fingers pushing around your arm. It's not a tourniquet. It's not compressing the artery. It's not compressing the nerves. Nobody should put on those dangerous straps or belts unless they are a professional bodybuilder and can tolerate the pain that goes along with them. So that's what the key is. And out on Doc's website there, if you want to go out to the website, mladenoff.b3sciences.com, simply go to the B3 band section, and I did a video of some of those other bands and compared it for you. And again, if you want to go out and look at that or email us and say, hey, can I see the comparison video of other bands? Email us at support@b3sciences.com. We'll send that over to you.
Okay, I think you answered one of the other questions that just came up. So it's just air that's going in the bands, correct?
Yes, it's only air.
Okay, so another question, any long-term unhealthy side effects? For example, if a normal body doesn't excrete the growth hormone once starting to age and we bypass what the body would normally do, are there any long-term effects from that?
No. And here's how we know this is true. There are no long-term side effects of high-intensity exercise. To the contrary, U.S. Department of Labor, Harvard, they want people doing vigorous aerobic and strength training every week. There's not one negative effect of it unless you're just overtraining. The B3 bands are simply allowing you to get high-intensity, vigorous exercise benefits with less work. So when done correctly, absolutely not. There's no long-term consequences, and actually you're going to live healthier and longer, you know, if you're doing this. So really, I mean, there's two options, Doc. They can go work out for an hour and lift the heavy weights and run sprints, or, you know, they can put the bands on for 10 or 15 minutes. Either way, this is the secret to longevity, is exercise, as you talked about it at the beginning of the presentation.
Okay, so another question here. Do the bands wear out? If so, is there a replacement process, or do you just have to purchase new bands at the same price? Tell them about the warranty on the product.
12-month warranty. I'm going on 16 months with mine. They're waterproof. I've been in the hot tub at least 20 times with them. I sweat in them. I've put them in the washer. You can wash them. So my guess is, with the weight I'm using mine, I'm probably going to get 2.5 years out of mine, but I am killing it with them. The average person's probably going to get 4 or 5 years, but, you know, eventually they're going to wear out, but they're going to last you a long time. And they have a 12-month warranty. And if anything's going to happen, like if they're going to give a little leak, which is about 0.5% of the bands, you'll notice it right away, and we replace those immediately. So 12-month warranty. And if they do wear out, let's say you only need one band, you can just buy a single band. But we're 2.5 years old now, Doc, and we haven't had anybody yet wear a pair out.
Okay, excellent. Okay, another question from Bridget. Do you need to exercise in the morning so that sleep is not impacted? That's a really great question. So, you know, because we have some patients that if they eat too late, they take their vitamins too late, they exercise too late, that keeps them up all night. So how should you, again, the question is, do you need to exercise in the morning so that sleep is not impacted?
In my opinion, ideally morning would be the best, but look, there's people who exercise better in the evening. And if you're the type of person who can exercise in the evening, go for a run or a walk with the dog, or work out and sleep, you're going to sleep fine with the bands. If you're going to start brand new and you're not currently exercising, I would try and do it anytime before noon, because you're just going to function better during the day.
Dr. Mike, you're killing me. It's like, okay, I hate exercising in the mornings. I'd rather, okay, after this call, it's like, I'm going to go throw my bands on now and I'm going to go exercise now. So I love exercising in the evening. So I'm one of those people. It's like, okay, it's just like pulling teeth to get me to exercise in the morning. So, yeah, and it doesn't affect my sleep. I'm a night hawk. I don't stay up any longer if I exercise at night. So it doesn't affect me that way. If I don't exercise, I'm still a night hawk. So it doesn't make my sleep situations worse. Okay. And another question here from Sherry. She says, I know you've already addressed this, but what's the cost of the product?
Okay, let's go back to that screen there. Is my screen still up, Doc?
Okay, there it is. Let's come back now.
Yep. Cost of the bands is $429 plus shipping and tax. If you'd like to do the PayPal option, you can do the PayPal option, and it comes to about $75 a month, or you can simply put it on a credit card. So $429 plus shipping and tax. Okay,
and so remind me, how do they measure what size they should get?
When you go to the shopping cart, when you go out to Doc's website, mladenoff.b3science.com, and you click on the blue shop button, you'll see a little hot link there that'll say size chart. Just click on it. It'll tell you to measure. It'll show you exactly where to measure, up high on the arm, above the bicep, and high in the groin. And it gives you the exact measurements for what sizes you can order. Now, again, if you have any questions about that, just email us. We'll get on the phone with you, and we can pretty much ask you how tall are you and how much do you weigh, and we'll figure out the size. If you don't know, hey, just email us tonight or in the morning, and even give us your phone number, support@b3sciences.com. We'll call you and walk you through it.
Okay, so Dr. Mike, I think that's all the questions. Unless you got a question, if you want to type it in right away. So we appreciate you being there tonight and sharing this with Dr. Mike. So here's how we're going to follow up. We're going to send everybody who was on the call, we're going to send them a link to that video we did way back when of things you can do to improve your immune system. And then, Dr. Mike, with your permission, there's a short video I'd like to send them. That's about a 4-minute video that you did that talks about the bands. And then you also, when I was at that seminar, you gave us a white paper that talked about the bands. Can we send them a link for that paper that describes the bands and the technology?
You bet.
Okay, so
we'll send a link to that PDF.
Okay, so we'll send them a link to that paper too. And then again, Friday, if you want to come and try the bands, you can come to the clinic. You don't have to call Sandy. We're going to be here. Just come to the clinic from 4 to 6. Probably, at least wear, you don't have to wear workout clothes, but, wear jeans or something that you could be a little active in. We're going to have you maybe do some stair stepping and some squats and a couple things just to try them. If that time doesn't work, then just call Sandy. You can call right now after the call and just leave a message. Hey, I was on the webinar. I want to try the band. Just call me for a time. Or you can call tomorrow. That'd be great. And then I think that's all we need, Dr. Mike. So we will send them a link for that if they're interested in purchasing them too, so how they can order them. And then I'm here to tell you, we deal with a lot of people in our industry, and the two things I'm impressed about Dr. Mike is he means what he says and says what he means. He is a pioneer in this industry, and again, with the way the healthcare industry is changing, the way the workout industry is changing, you got to be able to take care of yourself. And so I think this product is very timely, and his service is exceptional. We ordered the products on a Saturday, and the products were here by Tuesday, 10 a.m. So they have exceptional service. Any questions I had, someone got back to me like tout suite, as they say in French. So I'm really impressed with your service, Dr. Mike, and also your commitment to helping our society get better with this exercise. So last call for any questions, Dr. Mike, and I think we've got them all. I'm just going to make sure. Okay, so someone says we can't find the website, so let me do this. So we'll send you the link, but if you just go to www.mladenoff.b3sciences.com, you'll get there, but we'll send you a link for sure. And actually,
Doc, if I could correct one thing, one of the problems they might be having is don't put the www.
Okay, so just mladenoff.b3sciences.com. Okay, I'll
make sure. They could just type in B3 Sciences, and we'll make sure you get the credit. But one of the things mistake people make is Mladenoff replaces www. So
okay, that was my bad, totally. Okay, actually, we got another question here from Kim, and this is my bad. What kind of doctor are you, Mike?
Just like you, Doc. I was a sports chiropractor for 15 years and loved practicing and treating people, but I kind of got off into this health and fitness direction. But yeah, I was a sports chiropractor.
Well, if Dr. Mike doesn't mind, if you could tell him a little bit about your history, because you got some store-bought parts now that your body was crumbling before you got into the B3 technology. So can you give us a little bit of background on that?
Well, I was one of these guys that never wanted to lose muscle and would overtrain. And I lifted heavy weights and played hard, and I ended up replacing a knee, then a hip. And I hit about 52, 53 years old, and I was done. I mean, my days were over. There was no more, it was not going to be any more lifting weights. I had beat myself up so bad. Fortunately, I found these bands, and now I can exercise again. I mean, I look like I did when I was in my 30s, but I was the macho guy that if I didn't hurt the next day, I wasn't doing it. And it was self-destructing. So, if we could help, a lot of people on the call from avoiding that, that's a game changer just there. So, it's been a life changer for me. And, that's why I'm so excited to help, people out there do the same.
So that tells you the whole story of why Mike is so committed to this, because how many people have had knee replacements, hip replacements, and some of them have even gotten worse because of that. And of course, surgery is permanent change. But even after having experienced that in multiple joints of his body, he is doing really well and has recovered, and his body is doing much better. So that's awesome to hear, Dr. Mike. And then I'm going to just type for Cheryl. If you just stay on the line after this call, I'm going to type in that website for you. And then that way you can get to it. Okay, maybe not. Okay, you know what? We'll just send it to you. I'm having trouble here multitasking. So
yeah, we'll be including those links directly in the email follow-up that links to the replay of this and any of those other videos that we want to add. We'll put everything into that one email.
And I just typed that in.
Yes.
So Doc, if they just want to go to the chadnoff.beat and go paste it into a browser, and it'll take you right to the website.
Oh, okay. So you put it on the chat button?
Yes, on the chat.
Yep. So
okay. Perfect. Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, I think that's all the questions, Dr. Mike, and I know we'll be getting in touch with you, and if we get enough interest, hopefully we can do this again, and you can give us some more of the new data you're coming up with every week. And actually, for everybody out there, Dr. Mike is going to help me. We've started the procedure to help people recover from concussions, because one of the things that they need to do is obviously the athletes want to get back to their normal, performance levels, their sports of choice. But because of the injury, they can't do that. So Dr. Mike and I are creating a return to play protocol for concussions that's going to be really exciting, that will help people recover from concussions faster too. So we're going to keep you posted about that when we finally get that figured out and tested and checked out on some people. So Dr. Mike, any parting words for us? Thank you very much. This has been totally awesome.
No, thank you. I just, I love getting up every day and helping people exercise better. It's just, it's gone from chiropractic to this, and I'm just super excited to meet, all your wonderful patients and help them. So thanks for having me on.
All righty. So thank you very much, everybody. And again, if you want to test them out, just come to the clinic Friday from 4 to 6. We're going to send you the links for all the other info that was on this evening. And then I urge you to give them a test drive. You can't go wrong. Dr. Mike has got a 30-day money-back guarantee. In this day and world, I know a lot of people who have spent a lot of money on exercise equipment, and 30 days later, like, the thing collects dust and they can't send the thing back. So outstanding business model, Dr. Mike. I appreciate that. And I know so do all the patients that you've touched their lives. So Scott, I think we're ready to sign off.
All right.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. And we're getting some great comments here that it was really great. This was mind blowing. The stats, the data was over the top, and I learned a lot. I'm a fitness guy, and I love it. And I know I represent a lot on the call, just stuff we'd never thought of before that we'll never be able to exercise again without bringing into the equation. So now we have some direction on that. So great presentation, Dr. Mike. Thank you, Dr. M, for putting this together. Everyone have a great night. We'll be getting you the recording as soon as we can. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And everybody have a great Thanksgiving.
Yep.